Ryan Garcia versus Oscar Duarte. This is the post-fight show. We'll also talk about Michael Conlon against Jordan GILL. We'll also talk about Eubank versus Benn announcement, February the 3rd. Let's get into it on BWTM Sports Gaming. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. Glad you could join us. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Please, please, please smash the like button. When you smash the like button, it gives YouTube an indication that this is a channel that should be watched. These videos should be watched. And the more you share these videos, the more to like the videos, the more attention this channel gets. And of course, that's more motivation for me to do more videos. So there you go. All right, let's talk about Ryan Garcia and Oscar Duarte. And I tried to start doing a video the other day, and it didn't work out too well. I got interrupted. So let's talk about it now. So in the pre-fight, it was very clear that Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins were not too keen on the way that Ryan Garcia got beat by Gervonta Davis. The way he got stopped was something that they felt that he quit. He found a way out, and it was quite embarrassing for them. That's how they felt. They didn't feel that Garcia put up as much of a fight as he should have done. And I just don't understand. If you're promoting somebody, surely if your job is to promote them, is to promote. See, you want the best for them. You want them to succeed. You want them to progress. But these promoters, Hopkins and De La Hoya, seem to be enemies of progress. Now, I'm not saying that Ryan Garcia is an angel. I don't think he is. But I do think they need to keep whatever their issues are in-house. And the job of your promoter is to promote, is to raise you up, is to see you in your best light, or to show the world you're in your best light. And from what I see of Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, yes, they're both former fighters. Yes, they're both world champions. And this is a problem, because not everybody who is an elite sportsman makes a great manager or great promoter or a great coach. Yeah, I did it my way in my career. Yeah, in your time, in your career, you did this. When De La Hoya and Hopkins were fighting, more so De La Hoya, there was no such thing as social media. And, there was no Instagram. There was no Facebook as such. I mean, it started to grow, but not like to the way that Ryan Garcia's Instagram page blew up because of what he was doing. So that's how Ryan Garcia sold his tickets, right? So you can't knock a man for having whatever 100 million subscribers or followers on Instagram, and that's the way he sells his tickets, because you want him to sell your tickets, because if he sells you tickets, that's less promotion for you to do. So I don't understand it. Look, I've been a critic of Ryan Garcia, yeah, because I felt that he was more show than substance, because of he was knocking out dudes that I didn't really care for. But I do like Ryan Garcia. I want to see him do well. But this fight against Oscar Duarte, as far as I'm concerned with the Duarte fight, this is how I see it. Duarte was there to beat Ryan Garcia. He was there to beat Ryan Garcia. He was set up to beat Ryan Garcia. Because look, the guy's a big puncher. The guy is good chin. The guy is people rate him. So he didn't seem the type of guy you'd take in a combat fight after being knocked out. You know, and he showed when he was fighting with Ryan Garcia. He was giving Ryan Garcia problems. And even Garcia said at the end of the press conference, he was saying, "Well, this guy hit hard. This guy punching like a mule." And, you know, you've heard Mike Tyson when he's talking about Razor Roddick, man. The guy punches like a mule. So you take things, and I was happy. I was really happy watching Garcia beat Oscar Duarte. Really, I was happy to see him stop him. Because at one point, it looked like Duarte was going to get on top of Garcia and get him out of there. But I'm really happy to see he stuck in. He took his lumps. He took his bumps. Wasn't happy with the shoulder roll. Wasn't happy with the way he was rolling his body in a certain way. And he was getting hit. Like he was leaving himself exposed like an amateur. And it's something he's going to have to work on, because there are better fighters than Oscar Duarte out there. And I wouldn't like to see Ryan Garcia getting hit with shots like again. Like, if you've got a trainer in your corner, your job's to follow what the trainer, that's what you employ the trainer to do, not to go out and do your own thing. So Ryan Garcia shows that, again, he wants to go and do his own thing. Great fighters do that. Joe Calzaghe, I remember him fighting Mikhail Kessler. But you can't compare Joe Calzaghe to Ryan Garcia. But the point is, it wasn't working for him against Kessler. And he changed his style. When Kessler started to get on top, he changed his style. He adapted in a fight. Mayweather does it. The greats can do it. But what Ryan Garcia was doing was heavily flawed. And I think it was kind of like his version of rope-a-dope in a weird way. He wasn't using the ropes, but he was kind of, I don't know, shielding himself from getting hit like a tortoise, and then trying to unload from that. The way some of the positions Garcia had himself in, like he had his head down, and there were positions where he couldn't explode and throw punches, and he couldn't see the punches that were coming in a way. So people may have thought, well, that's because his rib was damaged from that before the Davis fight. He had a broken rib, I understand, before the fight. So I don't know if he was still protecting that rib. It hadn't healed properly. I don't know. But I do know that he showed toughness. He showed grit against a guy who could punch. Slow feet, but could punch. Had never been stopped. So I'm happy for Ryan Garcia. I don't know if he can get out that contract he's got with Golden Boy, but they're not the people. If it were me, if I'm fighting a guy that they're putting Duarte as like the real Mexican, and so Oscar knows what it's about. When Julio Cesar Chavez was calling out Oscar De La Hoya, calling him a real Mexican, so it's happened before. You've had De La Hoya versus Vargas, not a real Mexican, that rubbish. So you get it. I guess Canelo's not been called a real Mexican. That's gone quiet now, but I guess that might come up when if he ever gets to fight Benavidez, that might come up as well. So I'm happy for Garcia, but Garcia's got to make a decision in his life, and that decision is, well, if you're training now, learn from this fight, from the Duarte fight. You can't do it your own way. You've got to listen to the instructions of your corner with Derek James, and yes, he followed the instructions. But that shoulder roll in the middle of the ring was not Derek James. And there were some people who said the Rolly was saying, oh, yeah, Derek James taught him that. Listen, every trainer, even Freddie Roach, after he became trainer of the year with Pacquiao, he had 4 fights that got knocked out in that this following year. There was like Khan, what's this guy's name? Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and the 2 other fights that got knocked out. I think it was the year Khan got knocked out by Garcia. That year, Danny Garcia. So it happens. It happens. There's seasons, but that doesn't make Derek James a bad trainer. It just happens that that fighter on the night got beat by a better fighter. It doesn't make Derek James a bad trainer. It doesn't. Shook, good evening, guys. Good to see you, Ingram. Good to see everyone on the chat. Shook says, Duarte was a good test for Garcia. Forced him not only to follow Derek James' advice, but to make adjustments on the fly, using his IQ, more improvements needed, but good rounds him to get on his belt. Yeah, because a fight like that means more to a boxer, and they'll learn more than that than he just walking and throwing left hook. Now, Shakur Stevenson will say, Ryan Garcia is trash. You got to block their left hook. Let me explain something. That's his trademark punch. Deontay Wilder, his trademark punch is his right hand, his straight right hand. You know, Gennady Golovkin, he's got that kind of punch, overhand right. So those fighters have got trademark punches. Don't listen to fighters that talk trash like that, talk rubbish. So we know Garcia, his best punch is left hook. De La Hoya's best punch was his left hook. So I don't know what people are talking about. His best punch was his left hook. Very rarely Oscar knocked a guy out with his right and it was the left hook. You know, he'd catch you with the left hook and then throw the right and bring the left hook in. So I don't understand people saying, no, what you got to do is block Ryan Garcia's left hook. Well, let's see you do it. Let's see you do it. He said, well, do you want to fight Ryan Garcia? Yeah, but I'd like to pull him down in weight. That man don't want no fight. Talking rubbish. What Garcia did, we cannot call the shoulder roll or Philly show. We call it the California Tootsie Roll. Called a tortoise shell. What's funny was calling De La Hoya not a real Mexican. The guy is born in East LA. If that's not Mexican, then there are no Mexicans, LOL. Yeah, well, real Mexicans are born in Mexico. I don't know. It's not for me to get into that debate, but I think Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, at the end of the fight, when they're asking Oscar De La Hoya about how he felt about the Garcia fight, he made it clear that he was still promoting Garcia, and his smile seemed so fake. I thought, this guy is such a devil. The way he was smiling, I was like, yeah. Because before the fight, if you go back and look at the fight, as they're Oscar De La Hoya, he's not a good poker player. As they were announcing the fight, the two fighters in the ring, Oscar De La Hoya's looks like, yeah, this is the moment. Garcia's going to get beat tonight. Yeah, you know that moment. You know when you're a hater and you really want somebody to lose. Yeah, licking your lips. And at the end of the fight, he's smiling at everybody. And I'm like, no, that's a fake smile. That's a fake smile. Yeah, he did great tonight. No, you didn't think he was going to do great. You thought Duarte was going to beat him, and then that would have been the end of Garcia. It didn't happen. It did not happen. That's what was funny for me, watching Oscar De La Hoya having to suck it all up because Garcia had won, and he was tougher than he advertised. So well done for Ryan Garcia. Well done. Where he goes from here, Ryan Garcia has never been a world champion. Well, the way he's saying that is, well, it's down to you as promoter and management team to make him a world champion. And yes, I would stick him Rolly. Let him fight Rolly. But isn't O'Hara Davis meant to be fighting Rolly? What is going on in that situation? Is O'Hara Davis fighting Rolly or what? I don't know. So let's see how that plays out. So congratulations. As for Duarte, he's in stop now. And the way he got stopped, I don't know, because it was all of a sudden it happened. And I guess Ryan Garcia was breaking Duarte down. To me, that was really good to see the way Ryan was breaking him down. Because he actually was breaking him down, throwing shots through the middle, uppercuts, showing the uppercut. Well, those are some nice shots I've seen there. And he was working with Derek James. That was nice to see that. Boxing skills. It was good to see some of the boxing skills there because, if Ryan Garcia did not have any boxing skills and didn't have any boxing talent, Duarte would have knocked him out for sure. For real, would have knocked him out. But again, congratulations. That's for Duarte. Like I said before, he can come again. Whether he's going to be a gatekeeper now, is it harsh to call him a gatekeeper after 2 defeats? I don't know. Maybe he could fight another guy, but doesn't punch as hard as Ryan Garcia. Let's see how that works out for him. I don't know. I'd still like to see Duarte fight again, but I think he needs to work on how to close down fighters, not allowing fighters to get out of the corners, trying to throw more hooks when a guy's, when he's got a guy in front of him moving left to right, throwing the left hook and the right hook. Maybe how to step around and stop a guy from getting out of corners. So that's things that Duarte would need to work on. If he can work on that, pick up his feet, and be a little less predictable, a lot more feints of the jabs, much more rolling of the head, I think he can do something in the division because he punches hard enough. He's got a decent enough chin, got to move his head more. And I think if he does those things, he probably won't get caught the way he got caught in that fight. When you have a fight like that and you're getting hit and you're getting hurt and you're having to come through, it makes you a better fighter, because when you go back in the gym, you think, right, I've got to work on this, I've got to work on this, I've got to work on this. If you go out there and you blow a guy out, all them bad habits you've got, you have no need and any reason to change it. So Derek James and him will have a lot of things to work on. And I hope that relationship blossoms. I really do. I thought him and Goosen were going to work on well together, but I don't know if Goosen revealed to Tank's team that he was injured or with their rib injury or stuff. I don't know why that broke down, but it wasn't cool to hear that Gervonta Davis' team knew that Garcia had an injury. Not cool at all. And not cool at all. Well, Mayweather's team, him and Mayweather, and Tank Davis, not cool at all. Moving on. Just a side note. Seen a lot of Terence Crawford recently. A lot of Terence Crawford, more than I usually see of Terence Crawford. I just hope that Terence doesn't get caught into the celebrity trap. I hope he doesn't think the rematch against Spence is going to be easy, because I think it's not. I think at 154 pounds, I think Spence is going to be a different animal. I'm not making excuses. I think he's going to be a different animal at 154 pounds. I really do. I really do. I think we're going to see a different Spence against. I'm not saying it might be enough to beat Crawford, but I think we're going to see a better fight in the second fight. And I actually believe as well that the second fight is going to be what we expected in the first fight. That's what I think. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. So that's my Spence Crawford thing. Right, next thing. Jordan GILL versus Mick Conlon. That boy should be retired. Mick Conlon has had 2 bad knockout defeats. His durability has gone. Now, I don't know if his durability has gone because of weight and he's draining himself in the weight division, or he's just checked out. I don't know. But Mick Conlon, I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know if it's because of hard sparring in the gym. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's hard fights, but Mick Conlon, his career is finished. His career is finished, as far as I'm concerned. It's finished. He's got no real punch resistance. A heel Spence with no rib injury and good sparring and solid count will be a much more game challenge for Crawford. I believe so too. Good evening, Denise Wards. How are you, Denise, my love? How are you? I hope things are well. I haven't forgotten you. I haven't forgotten you with the book. It's just that it's every day of the week. Literally, it's get up, coach, come home. Get up, coach, come. So there's no time to actually get up, get to the post office, and, so it's just like that. I mean, everything's not just as close as it would be in England. So you will get that book before Christmas. I promise you. But I just got to get across to doing it. So hope you're well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Mick Conlon. Jordan GILL looked good. He looked powerful. He looked well. Interesting where Jordan GILL goes from here. But Mick Conlon, he needs to retire. Seriously needs to retire. That boy's been hurt too many times. And it's painful to watch. Such a talented kid in the amateurs. But what's he going to do now? I mean, he could become a trainer now. I don't know. Manager, promoter. I don't know. But his career is finished as far as I'm concerned. Mick Conlon has been in there, done enough, and at this point no longer a factor at the most elite level of boxing. He should now focus on his family, wealth, and avoid permanent injury. Totally agree with you. Well, okay, he should make a retirement as soon as possible. I don't see Mick Conlon fight again. I mean, I didn't want to see him fight against Jordan GILL. I'm like, I don't see that fight. I don't want to see that fight because if he gets beat, he's finished. And he truly, as far as I'm concerned, is finished. Chick says, I don't want to see Conlon to fail like we saw with Jason Too Smooth Booth and his brother. No, I don't either. I don't. I remember Too Smooth Booth back in the day, man. That was a guy I used to like a lot. Didn't he go on to become IBO champion of the world? I'm sure he did. Okay. Next thing. This is a big one. Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn. The whole situation is a mess. in my personal opinion, this is what should happen. Conor Benn, they said, yeah, I've never seen a fighter get treated like Conor Benn. Conor Benn, he's been getting treated disgustingly by the board. Okay. Yeah, but Conor Benn is also the son of Nigel Benn. And let's remember, Nigel Benn ripped up his British Boxing Board of Control license after the Doug DeWitt fight when he fought for the WBO title. Remember that. So it's not like the relationship between Nigel Benn and the British Boxing Control it stems back. Remember back in them days, if you can remember that. I can't remember why Benn ripped up his license, but he did. I don't know, and I think he got his British Boxing Board Control license back. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think Tyson Fury's got a British Boxing Board Control license as well. So, from what I understand, I could be wrong. So I guess he comes in and fights with an American license. I could be wrong there. Quote me if I'm wrong. But big up. Yes. Thank you very much. So here's a few things I have. If the British Boxing Board of Control allow Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn to fight, they need to sanction Eubank Jr. You are not fighting against a guy who's not got a license. So they need to sanction Eubank Jr. First thing. Secondly, they need to sanction the promoter, Eddie Hearn, as far as I'm concerned. Because, and it's not, oh, you hate Eddie Hearn. No, if you've got a person that's saying, you know what, if the board don't do as I say, screw them, we're going to go ahead. You've got a guy that's, you know, he's failed 2 drug tests. Why didn't you take that same energy with Jarrell Miller? But you didn't use the energy with Povetkin. You allowed Povetkin to fight on your card. You promoted Luis Ortiz. These are guys that were known as drug cheats. They were promoted. You did a pay-per-view card with Povetkin and AJ. You did pay-per-view cards with Povetkin and Dillian White twice over. This guy was considered a drug cheat. Povetkin, we used to call him, yeah? So, what's going on there with that? I don't understand. But you see, when your hands are dirty, I'm not saying the British Boxing Board of Control's hands are dirty, but I'm saying this. Or I'm suggesting, let's put a situation where if you're getting regular handouts, you go to certain events, and when you go to these events, you put up in the best hotels, and you're getting your food paid for and everything, all your expenses paid for by these promoters, and then now you then turn around. How are you going to have the same energy to sanction that promoter? How are you going to have the same energy to sanction the promoter's fighter? How are you going to have the same energy to be able to turn around and do justice? You can't. You cannot. So let me ask people this question. Let me even ask the board this question. If Conor Benn wasn't related to Nigel Benn, and he was a small hall fighter, he's fighting at Bethnal Green every week, or every month, or every 6 months, or every 3 times a year, and he's bringing no money in, just about able to feed his family. Would you take this approach? And if you wouldn't take this approach, with the same situation and the same findings, then it's inconsistency. And if it's inconsistency, and you're not consistent with your rulings, then nobody can take you seriously. And if nobody can take you seriously, then really you are just a board in name, but not by law, and not by deed. And the only people you punish are the people that are on small hall shows or people who haven't got money, i.e. Leon Cameron. I'm not digging the board out here. I'm just making some points here. And I think that there needs to be another organization separate to the British Boxing Board of Control, an independent governing body. I can come in and clean up this crap. And for me, first person should get suspended or should be warned about his behavior is Hearn. Because as far as I look at it, he's basically saying, well, okay, as far as I'm concerned, if I think that the board are not doing right by the fighter, I will go elsewhere and I will take my ball and I'll go elsewhere because I've got money and because I've got some power. I will do that. His ass should be sanctioned. His ass should be sanctioned. He should be warned. Like how it is in football. Like Arteta opened his mouth and started saying, blah, 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 blah. Okay, right, you're going to get fined for that. And your club's getting fined for it. That's the same thing that should happen with boxing. You open your mouth too wide, you talk too much rubbish, you start talking stuff that's outside the lines. Well, we're going to go ahead anyway. Fine. Eubank, if his name goes on that contract, fined. Because you're going and fighting a guy who's not even got a British Boxing Board of Control license and you've got a British Boxing Control license. Fined. Should happen. Should really happen. Should really happen. And then to make it tighter, the British Boxing Board of Control and anybody who's got any sort of other organizations should work with the British Boxing Board of Control and should say, right, let us be tighter with our regulations and let's be consistent about this. Any fighters that have been caught, not what you've been caught, and with an illegal substance in your system twice to stop a big fight. It's that bad. You stopped a big fight. Then you'll fight. The fighter cannot come into the country and fight. British Boxing Board of Control should stop fighters coming into the country if they decide. So, like, if they decide to take the fight and get a license from another country and fight for another board, then you know what? Right, you fought in America. Good. You can't fight in England. Go and take your fight to America. Go and take your fight to Dubai. And yeah, they might lose that money on it, but at least there's a camaraderie there. And if the British Boxing Board of Control can build that unity across the world, because at the moment they joke because they're not consistent. So I think that needs to happen. Another thing, if fighters get caught, you see, the way to work out if these drug cheats are genuine drug cheats is that when you ban the fighter or you suspend the fighter, you suspend the trainer and you suspend the training team. So you suspend the fighter, suspend the trainer, suspend that training team. People will still start to look out for their best interest. So they all go down. And the promoter gets a fine as well. That's what I think. Too many grey areas. They would have to fight. Would be a shame to the British public if they didn't. Be a good watch. But hold on, you can't put a good watch ahead of. You can't put ahead of the British a fight versus justice. I think Eubank still happens because the money on the table is too much to pass up domestically, even though the PD is still unresolved. Absolutely. Okay. Did you hear what Hearn said about Miller? Apparently Miller said if Hearn goes to New York, he'll have people waiting for him. Okay. The amount of drugs Povetkin had in his system at this point is either cyborg or transhuman. Don't know if he's allowed for a human being against a fight as a machine. Sheesh. Yeah, that was true. That is true. I wonder why they let Povetkin continue fight, but not Miller. Any thoughts? Yeah, because Miller was dealing with heavy investment, I believe, in Joshua. I believe Joshua was heavily invested in. And I think Miller, when he made the stuff about him cycling and all this stuff about Joshua and gaining all that weight at that press conference, that's where Miller sealed his fate. And that's where you came out with all the drug cheating, came out of drug to scupper Miller's career and his name. That's what I think happened right there. It's a grimy politics in boxing with all the diverse promoters. My attitude remains the same. Let one of the 5 families in New York run all the boxing, one syndicate, one family, sorted. Yeah, but if you do that, then you're not having a monopoly then, and you have what they call a dictatorship. You have one person in control of one. It becomes a dictatorship, and then there's some people who are let through the door and other people who are let through the door. Isn't that happening now in the British Boxing Board of Control? But you don't think the families could be bought or favor people of their own? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think that works. I think boxing's always going to have that. I think it's always going to have that. I'm not I'm just saying, if we want to clean this sport up, which I don't think is going to happen like that, then I think things have to change. Yes, there would. Yes, but there would only be one weight class, and there was, and when the fight was thrown, it would be so blatant there would be no doubt, no guessing or scratching like today. This fight stinks to me, Ingram. I won't be watching or paying for it. Same old double standards. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But if the British Boxing Board of Control do not make a firm stand, Mr. Robert Smith, if you do not make a stand here, you are gonna literally create monsters. You're going to create monsters where people who do failed drug tests will know, as long as I'm with a big promoter, don't matter. I can go and fight in America. I can come back, go and fight in Dubai, go fight in the Middle East, get the British Boxing Board of Control license. I can do that. Because the British Boxing Board of Control make a stance, whatever that stance may be, reprimand Hearn for the stuff he's saying about, yeah, we're going to go regardless of what. No, you can't talk in that stuff. I don't know. It's legal. You can take, but I do believe that if the British Boxing Board of Control look at the situation, I think it was Michael Watson, where I believe the British Board of Control would have gone bankrupt if it wasn't for Frank Warren helping them out at the time. So I don't know. The fight does stink because you've already seen boxing fans. Let's be honest. Did you see Conor Benn's last fight? Did you watch his last fight? Did you see how much that other guy towered over Benn? That was at light middleweight, and Benn looked like he had no punching power at light middleweight. Imagine him going up to middleweight now. Where's he going to get punching power from? He looked terrible, Benn. There should be a 365-year round testing for regular athletes in regular boxing, and then a PED league for guys that want to use it. That way they can differentiate. If the regular guy gets popped life ban, yeah, I think so. I've said about PEDs before. Let them go play in a PED monster league and let them do what they want to do in that. Hearn said on the overlap that the Boxing Board of Control have to sanction the fight as he may look to fight under a different authority. Very shady. There you go. That's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm saying. So you'll see in a clear light of day that people will do what they want because they have money. Let me see if Mick Hennessy can talk the same way. Let me see if any of these small hall promoters could talk that way. Who else has got more small hall shows? Let me see if it should not be allowed. Should not be allowed. Should not be allowed. British Boxing Board of Control have got to step in and do something about it. That's just my thoughts on it, because you look at what you see of Conor Benn in that fight against that guy, that dude. Oh, now he's been popped for PEDs now. That guy got popped for PEDs, they're saying now, because it makes Ben look better that way. That's what I think. So I'm not happy with it, people. You got to stand. You can't on one hand be criticizing referees and judges for poor decisions, but on the other hand supporting promoters because you like promoters in some very corrupt and shady business. This is how I look at it. That's how I look at it. Is the British Boxing Board of Control clean? I don't know. Are they in bed with promoters? I don't know. But if they are in bed with promoters, then when you have to do and you have to punish fighters or you have to punish big time Charlies, there's a problem. You can't. So anybody who has a problem with what I'm saying, because I'm on the side of justice and equality, including you in the media that like to take people's thoughts and opinions and use it because you haven't got your own thoughts and opinions and use them for interview questions. Or what do you think of? Some people say, have you heard that? It's all right. Because you see, this thing called karma, I keep saying to people in boxing, What you wouldn't want for yourself, do not want for others. Yeah. In boxing, there's this thing where people think within the boxing world, well, it's okay for him to have injustice. It's okay for them to have injustice. But with my own life, I must have justice. I must have justice in the court system. I must have justice if my child's getting bullied in school. I must have justice if... But it doesn't work that way. If you can see injustice and turn a blind eye, you're just as bad as the injustice that's going on. You are collaborating, or you are encouraging corruption. So you yourself are corrupt. It's what it is. It's what it is. So when I hear people going, "Oh, did you see this person got robbed?" You turn around, the person get robbed, but then you're going to support the same promoter that's going to turn around and say, "I'm going to put on a fight with a guy that's been banned or suspended because of PEDs." Now, that don't make sense to me. You said it best. Can't get rid of politics, so you can't. So we'll just see. I'll leave it as it is. This fight goes ahead. If the British Boxing Board of Control don't do anything, I don't hear nothing about the British Boxing Board of Control. If they allow this fight to just go ahead and nothing, and Eubank don't get reprimanded, and Benn don't get reprimanded, and his trainer don't get, and Hearn don't get reprimanded, the British Boxing Board of Control are full of shit, and nobody should take him with any sort of legitimacy anymore. They really shouldn't. It's like a Ferrari without no engine. That's what they would be. It looks good on the outside, but the actual facts are it doesn't go in. The car's not going anywhere. So that's where I see it. There might be a lot of legal ramifications from it, but you can't be telling a person that hasn't got their license that we're gonna fight in England. We're gonna fight in England, and we're gonna get an organization out of the country to support what we're doing inside the country. No, that's BS. Sorry. Imagine the fighters get done over for fighting and not Hearn. That's what I'm saying to you. That would be fishy, but I can see that happening. If that happens, then nobody, the British Boxing Control, as far as I'm concerned, would be an absolute joke. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. I cannot see any other way. Cannot view it any other way. It's an absolute joke. Sorry, I cannot defend it. Can't defend it. Why would I defend it? Why would I defend that behavior? Why would I? I want the best for the sport. When you talk about wanting the best for the sport, you will make decisions and you will do things and you will say things because you want the sport to grow. You want the sport to be better. You want to see progress. And progress sometimes is about making those tough decisions, making those tough calls. If you can't make those tough calls, then it's not right. If you won't make those tough calls, then it's not right. Thank you. Power cup. Power's back. So if you won't make those tough calls, then what are you doing? You're just there parading. There goes the lights. They're back now. Back. All the lights, they're back. So they're just parading. There has to be some sort of external regulating committee. Yeah, that's what I've said. So people like this dude here, who seems he's on a law. Thank you. Let's get this light back on here. Thank you. Who seems a law upon his own self. Law on his own self. You know, they were gonna push for a fight with Eubank Jr. that was drained under a healthy weight. And Conor Benn could have half killed him. I don't think there will be one because who will run it and who decides who will be on the committee? Don't know. Whoever, you know who should run it? You know who should run it? I believe the Saudis should run it. You know why? Because the Saudis were the only ones that could come in the room and say, you know what? Hearn, Warren, get together. How much money does it take for Hearn and Warren to come together like that? For an event, Hearn and Warren working together. So if anybody can do it, the Saudis can do it. The Saudis can do it. Because the money they've got. There can't be enticed by money because they have money, real money. So you say Hearn and Warren together, can't say, can't tell you what to do. You saw what happened. You two get it together. So maybe the Saudis are the way forward to clean up the sport. That's true. Never did anyone ever think that Hearn and Warren could come together. So the Saudis, in my opinion, should be, because it can't be any worse than what we've got at the moment. So the Saudis should have a governing body from around the world for boxing because they've got the money to do it. They can do it. They can do it. And I would love it. They step in and say, you know what? We're not going to have people with PEDs in boxing. We're not going to have promoters decide that think they can jump the queue. And they're watching. And I would love that. I would love that. Love it. I'd love it. As Keegan says, I'd love it. I'd love it. You know, because if you can go and take fights, and because the money, the big money is in Saudi now. It's not in England. It's in Saudi. We've seen it. Wilder, Joshua, Miller, Walling, Dubois, all on the same card. Bivol, all on the same card. Undisputed Bivol versus our friend. Better Beef. Or Baturbiev. Yes. Can happen. They talk about it happening next year. The fact they got the two together to pose and take pictures. It'll happen. So, if anyone can do it, the Saudis could do it. The Saudis could do it. Watch this space. That's what I say. Watch this space. Because if they could show, they could put on a show like the Day of Reckoning. If all goes well, which I'm sure it will, they won't want anything to mess up there. I'd love to know who the person was that told Hearn and Warren to get it together, sort it out. You know, it is getting out of control. Getting out of control. In fact, there should be a rule and a law that stops that nonsense of promoters. One promoter talking about another promoter's business. It should stop. That should be sanctioned as well. Promote your fights. Promote your fighters. Don't go knock another person's. This back and forth needs to stop. And you can be competitive, but if you're going to be competitive, sit in a damn room with one another and talk. Do you know what else I'd want the Saudis to do? I want the Saudis to get Hearn and Warren to sit in a room together and do a face-off and talk about boxing and their thoughts on boxing. I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it because Warren will talk Hearn under the table. I'm not saying Warren's perfect by any means. And I'm not saying that Eddie Hearn is a dunce, but I'm saying it'd be nice to have them both in the room and sit down and talk boxing for an hour. Talk about boxing. Talk about integrity. Talk about throwing fighters under the bus. Talk about throwing fighters under the bus so that you honor their contract, but then you don't have to deal with them afterwards. Talk about making fighters go in daring to be great, which basically means take this fight or I will never promote you again. Let's have those conversations. Let's talk about weight cutting and why you would sanction a fight with a guy that's clearly unhealthy versus a guy that's moving up in weight. And you allowed that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you can put a guy in at cruiserweight as a fight. And the guy has fought good enough at European level, and you stick him at world level to get absolutely splattered. And you got to turn around and say, you're giving him a chance. He's daring to be great because he knocked out a few guys that come out the pub. You're going to stick him in with a guy that's knocking out guys at elite level. That's not good. You do it all the time. And then you tell the public, daring to be great. Well, sport needs clearing up. It's cleaning up and fast. And if anybody can do it, the Saudis can do it. And misfits, would the Saudis allow misfits to continue? It's doing what it is, but the Saudis have probably got to get their eye on it as well. You know, I don't think the center of power is going to be in England or in America much longer. And with the broadcasters falling through in America, who knows? Maybe the Saudis could have a broadcaster network with all these fighters. I mean, if the Saudis were meant to have like shares in Netflix, for example, or buy out Netflix or one of these platforms, or Facebook, even buy out Facebook for boxing and have boxing on Facebook, they could do it. Charge a little fee and have boxing through Facebook. Or YouTube. Do you know what I mean? YouTube channel, YouTube boxing, and subscription on that to members. So they could do YouTube. You could do YouTube members, and then you can get people to subscribe to watch boxing every month. Saudis buy a channel and have the fighters come out of YouTube, like the YouTube network of fighters. Giving ideas now. So YouTube network of fighters, and then you put a set fee, whether it be $3.99, $5.99, and you can see all these fighters fight on this network. And it'd be done. You could do it, and it'd be worth it. That would solve some problems. And if you control the right way. See what I mean? The only problem with that is people will still try and stream the fight, stream it. But even if they're streaming it, they're still paying their money before they stream it. So, yeah, some buggers had to pay it. Just a thought. Just a thought. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Right, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you've enjoyed the videos. I hope you've enjoyed my Celtic season. Please comment on these videos I'm doing. It's particularly the football ones I'm doing. I'm doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for you guys as well. And yeah, start watching. And as well, I've got my cricket videos. So all the stuff I'm doing in the communities, you can watch it on my channel as well. You might not like cricket, but just watch it because you support me. Really appreciate it. I could really do with the support out here now, you know, because sometimes it gets kind of lonely. And it's nice to have you guys on the other end of a line. And I want to start doing phonings on the Kick Channel. I want to do phonings on this channel. So, yeah, I'm trying to make another effort for this channel. So, we'll see. Right. Again, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Hey, super chats, super thanks. There's super thanks as well. Click on the $sign and do super chats as well. I'm going to start doing, getting some more new branding from new cups and mugs and BWTM jackets and shirts and hoodies and stuff. I'm trying to do that for BWTM as well. Like back in the day, I might try and do that. The bag would have to be huge for it to be streamed on YouTube or something. Well, I'm talking the Saudis being involved. If the Saudis involved, they can do it in a way. I'm sure the Saudis could do it involved. If not YouTube, then Netflix. But it can be done. It can be done. All right. Thank you so much. Don't forget the super chat. Don't forget the super thanks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash that like button. Smash it, share the video, and let more people know about BWTM Sports. Thank you so much for watching. Integrity and truth is what this channel has always been about. I will continue to speak my truth. Take care.